it's about to be a party in here. BetMGM's got all the sports betting in one place. And it's live, baby. We're placing money lines in real time. We got second half spreads and third set winners as they overs hitting in extra innings. Live is where the action is at. And with BetMGM, woo, I got the best seat in the house. There you go now. Oh, that's it. That's it. There you go now.
I think I'm
Oh, that's it. That's it.
Your business, your money, your life.
Marketing, expanding, and branding.
SiriusXM Business Radio.
SiriusXM Business Radio.
Your business, your money, your life.
Entrepreneurs, CEOs, and investors.
SiriusXM Business Radio.
To hear Business Radio, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or go to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly. Amazing moments happen so much at SiriusXM, we want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SiriusXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artists you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
The Cowboys offense will continue to run through quarterback Dak Prescott and wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. Dak has more fantasy points than any other quarterback over the last 4 weeks, and Lamb is averaging 12 targets, 8 receptions, 108 receiving yards, and a touchdown, or an amazing 25.35 fantasy points per game over the last month. That Cowboys connection will once again help us march toward the fantasy football playoffs this season.
The NFL is tough in general. I've said it over and over again, obsessed with records or say this team is good or bad based on this record. I mean, injuries, a lot of things play into records a lot of times. But understanding, the teams we've played haven't been great. But I can promise you, everybody that comes in and everybody that we play, we do get their best shot.
And so they continue to try to keep finding spots where he can be effective and find himself in almost unusual situations. So system, the calls system doesn't always include him as a linebacker when he's a down guy. And so they're just trying to mix him and match him, and they're doing a nice job with him. He's such an athletic guy. He's so slippery and quick, and he gets skinny so well that it doesn't kind of matter where he is.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs, and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you, as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 018-14868.
The deepest lineup of off-road ready trucks. Learn more at Chevy.com.
The team with the most grit is the team that comes out on top, on or off the field. That's why the team of Chevy ZR2 off-road trucks is always a force to be reckoned with. Now, the first ever Silverado HD ZR2 joins the all-new Colorado ZR2 and the Silverado ZR2 to create a lineup that is off-road ready right from the factory. With Multimatic DSSB dampers, rugged Goodyear Territory MT tires, and underbody aluminum skid plates, they can take on anything the season throws their way. The Chevy ZR2 family of off-road trucks. Visit Chevy.com.
Rondo Deportes, bonjour, vidi vidi vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Jonathan of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, of the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe. According to me, the people who love the universe, and that would include you. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my? Won't you be my? Won't you be my neighbor? Get up! You know, at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, I've been told, everybody, I've been nominated Neighborhood Watch Person. And when I try to get the neighborhood together, sometime I do it at 3 o'clock in the morning. But you don't have to worry about what time it is. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 29 podcast applications all over the universe. On a beautiful November 30th, in 2023 in Deer Hills, California. You can follow Big C Sports on Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, Good Podcast, TuneIn Podcast, Amazon Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Diesel Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, GeoSavon Podcast out of London, England, as well as India and Africa, Podtail, YouTube, Hubhopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Peapod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, Podcast Prodigy, Podcast Republic, and one that you can still me but not doesn't is AllFeeds.ai. Give that some praise because the robots are trying to take over. You know, rumor has it they have some robots. They have a defense down in Dallas that they play like the robots. It's basically, I think they've won 12 in a row at home. They're trying to go 13 in a row at home, and they have some Seahawks. What does a cowboy do when he sees a Seahawk? They probably get the barbecue grill ready. I think they'll get the barbecue grill ready tonight, all fair and level war. But I do want to make sure that we pay respect to the Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced, helping veterans and their loved ones get help. You know anybody going through issues, pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give us some praise because we all need somebody to lean on. I know I need somebody to lean on, and our veterans need somebody to lean on as well. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports in the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And God said, let me be like, be careful when you have pastors say like me, because they will call you and say, listen, Carlton, the good Lord don't like you not knowing what scripture and verse. I said it's just part of the show, Pastor. He said, well, you don't want to deface the Bible but not quoting the right scripture. I said it's just part of the show, man. Also, if it's part of the show, give that some praise. I love giving it praise. If that makes sense to you. Sometimes pastors take themselves a little too serious. All fair and level war. I want to tell you what I do with Big C Sports is I always produce the show. I always, number 2, direct the topics. Number 3, I broadcast all the shows. Number 4, I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter. Come on, pastors, we could all use more laughter. And number 5, the commercials are done. I do all my commercials up front. And then number 6, the stats are provided. I provide the stats. Number 7, I do the storytelling. And number 8, I do the play-by-play. Everybody has their own thoughts on play-by-play. And I do my play-by-play, if that makes sense to you. And then number 8, that play-by-play. Number 9, I upload the show. It goes out to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City. And I'm in Deer Hills, California. And then number 10, I never missed a show since creating Big C Sports with the crew back in the days at Salem Media. Give that some praise. Now you got people who miss a day in practice. I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about practice. Not the game. People miss practice. And I never missed a show. You got to give that some praise out of all the days of my life since starting Big C Sports with the crew. All fair and love and war. I do want to tell you that I love doing so many things with Big C Sports Podcast. I want to say
I want to thank CNN, The Source with Caitlin Collins. CNN, proud sponsor of the Big C Sports Podcast. The Source with Caitlin Collins, weeknights at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on This Is CNN, proud sponsor of the Big C Sports. Get that some praise. I also want to say thank you to PNC Private Bank, proud sponsor of the Big C Sports. Get that some praise. I said give it praise. All fair and loving war. I want to get through some things today because I got on, number one, I got to talk about the Dallas Cowboys and the Seattle Seahawks. You know what a Cowboy does when they see a Seahawks flying down in the AT&T Stadium. Don't trust trying to land on that star, if that makes sense to you. But I also want to thank, I'm big on reparations. I consider I'm the best reparations sports podcaster in the universe. Unlike many people who just want to focus on the game, I'm not talking about practice. I'm talking about the game. I want to focus on reparations. Going to be sending out a letter to California Governor Gavin Newsom with the National Black Wall Street Project as a chair in California, co-chair in California. And he has a debate tonight. In fact, it's already underway with the gentleman from, I don't know if I should call him a gentleman. Let me show some respect. With Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, who believes that anyone who has history or knowledge of black history is woke. Because he's going to get an education tonight. What did Two Live Crew saying? They said, tonight's the night. It's going to be all right. That's not Two Live Crew. That's the great Ryan Stewart. Oh, well, Two Live Crew sang the song too. That's what I heard. I heard Two Live Crew sing this song, but it's all fair and level. But I do want to thank a Double O, part of the National Committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. She sent me this article that was signed by President Joe Biden on his first day in office. It's called Executive Order 13985. You can Google it. It's on further advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. That's called the White House. You know, the house that's going to pass reparations? Well, it already has, because President Abraham Lincoln, he signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which supposed to give reparations to the descendants of child slavery. We know when President Lincoln was assassinated, unfortunately, President Andrew Johnson came along and he vetoed the bill because he was a segregationist. And he gave the land back to the people who lost the Civil War, known as the Ku Klux Klan and the Southern Confederates. And no president since Abraham Lincoln has had the decency to even honor what President Abraham Lincoln did. Now, they'll come around asking for the black vote. When it's time to run for office, they will ask you for the black vote. But I believe that President Joe Biden, who said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, I think it's going to sign for reparations in 2024. Give that some praise. I said give it praise. Because rumor has it, if President Biden doesn't sign the bill for reparations in the United States for the descendants of child slavery, they may bring on Teddy Pendergrass when it comes to your vote. He said, turn it off! It's so important. Right now, the NBA's playing in their tournaments, trying to get more people to buy merchandising. They have different uniforms, and they even changed the floors. And the NFL is trying to position for a playoff seeding. Nothing wrong with that. But as Double O sent me Executive Order 13985, every college kid and high school kid should know what that is, especially every voter when it's time to go to the polls. You got to give that some praise. Really appreciate her. Senator Marco Rubio and Senator Rick Scott of Florida, they've already reintroduced the bill to restore Holocaust survivor rights. I want to thank Georgetown University, not for saying touchdown, home run, three-point play, home man way. He's going all the way. No, not for that. But Georgetown University, they've already pledged over $1 billion. Over $1 billion to descendants of child slavery. You know what that means? That means that they've already pledged over $1 billion to 272 families that descendants of child slavery. They were selling off black families to pay the debts on Georgetown. Oh, that was a long time ago, Curry. I just told you. Georgetown's already pledged over $1 billion and counting, and that was in 2000. That was in September of 2023, just a couple of months ago. And they're in the same city as President Joe Biden in the White House. That same White House is going to be asking for the black vote coming up. I'm already telling you, they're going to be coming around the black churches. You're going to see them on television. They're going to have black men and women and children in the audience behind them. And they're going to say they want your vote. Well, you know what? We want your vote too. Give that some praise. Because Congress right now is considering signing reparations into law. They have over 172 members between the House and the Senate that have already endorsed H.R. 40. Give that some praise. You don't hear about that anywhere else. As we stand up for the kickoff, they're already, because of President Biden said he wants to consider reparations. And he needs to know, in order to be reelected in 2024, you have a slam dunk. It's like Dallas winning a home football game. Dallas winning a home football game. They won 12 in a row down in Texas. Wasn't Texas the last state that announced that slaves were freed in 1865? They got 2 more years of free labor. But that same state right now, that same state in Texas, Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, you got to give her some praise because she's the one who petitioned and put together H.R. 40, along with other governors around the country that have their own thoughts. Here in California Governor Gavin Newsom, you'll see him on TV tonight. But it's so important. Don't just be hoodwinked by football. Please give that some praise. It's so important. And Georgetown's already beat the White House to it. I also want to thank Double O, National Impact Committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. She sent me this article from the United Nations as we are standing up for the kickoff. Stand up for the kickoff. As we stand up for the kickoff, Congress is considering kicking off reparations for the descendants of child slavery. You got to give that some praise. Double O sent me this article from the United Nations on human rights. It says Countdown to Human Rights Day. It's so important. It says strong leadership and political will are crucial to ensure reparatory justice for people of African descent. That's the United Nations article dated September 19, 2023. That was sent to me by Double O, part of the National Impact Committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. It was September 19, 2023. And it says an in-depth United Nations report focused on reparatory justice for people of African descent. It urges that states in the United States show strong leadership and political will in not tackling the football player, but tackling lasting consequences of enslavement. The slave trade that enslaved Africans by colonialism. The report presented to the United Nations General Assembly by the United Nations Secretary General. That's important. It set out a series of concrete steps and the international community to address the continued harm suffered by people of African descent. It highlighted the intrinsic link between the legacies of colonialism and enslavement as we were standing up for the kickoff, and contemporary forms of systemic racism and racial discrimination, intolerance, and xenophobia faced by people of African descent. We got to understand between 25 and 30 million people were violently uprooted from Africa for enslavement, called the transatlantic trade. And enslaved Africans, it caused the largest and most concentrated deportation of human beings involving several regions of the world. It lasted more than 4 centuries. And Governor Gavin Newsom of California and Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, I wonder if they'll even talk about it in tonight's debate. Governor Gavin Newsom should be proud of it because he mandated the Reparations Task Force in California. I want to give him some praise. I'm going to put myself out on a limb. We're going to talk about it tonight. I want to thank T-Mobile, America's largest 5G network, proud sponsors of Big C Sports. Give that some praise. Life is important. I love so much of what I do with Big C Sports Podcast, and everybody has their own opinion. I want to thank NBC News that wrote an article on California reparations. They did. Yeah, you know who they quoted? NBC News, March 30, 2023. They quoted Charlton Curry of Dimdale Hills, California, who discusses reparations on his Big C Sports Podcast. It says cash payments are necessary, that money talks. And people, you got to give that some praise. NBC News? Yeah, NBC News. You know who also quoted Big C Sports? CBS News. The C stands for Big C. Give that some praise. CBS News also quoted Charlton Curry of Big C Sports when it came to California reparations. Discusses the reparations on his Big C Sports podcast. Cash payments are necessary. That money talks. Give that some praise. So I got the endorsement of NBC News. I got the endorsement of CBS News. I got the endorsement of the Associated Press. Because they quoted Big C Sports when they talked about reparations. They didn't just say touchdown, home runs, 3-point play. Old man Willie, he's going all the way. Now, what if I can get NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell to give his endorsement for reparations, just like over 170 members of the Congress and the Senate, they've co-signed on H.R. 40. That bill is put together by Sheila Jackson Lee, representative out of Texas. It's the right thing to do. And everybody knows it's the right thing to do. Don't act like it's not the right thing to do. Everybody knows it. But imagine when the NFL, that looks at all those beautiful black bodies running around the NFL stadiums in front of 80,000 people going, touchdown, Cowboys! Touchdown, Seahawks! And they're ignoring the most seminal moment in the history of this country for descendants of chattel slavery. That's the Emancipation Proclamation. Oh, you talk too much politics! Oh, really? Then why did NBC News interview Charlton Curry and not your sorry butt? Why did CBS News do an article on Charlton Curry of Big C Sports and not your cynical butt? Now, what if the... Oh, I just had another epiphany. Epiphany's a moment of intuitive insight. If CBS News, NBC News, and the Associated Press, they want to cover a sports guy, give that some praise. But I have another thought, just for consideration. If they can do it, why not go to the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell? And I appreciate NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell because without his signature, he talks about ending racism, and I applaud him for that. They even put it on the back of the end zone. I think it might be down in Texas, behind one of the goalposts for the Cowboys. The other end, it says it takes all of us, unless they've changed it. If CBS News and NBC News and the Associated Press can quote Charlton Curry of Big C Sports Podcast, why not get the thoughts of NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell? Why not get the thoughts of NBA Commissioner Adam Silver? Think about that. They run the two most powerful sports leagues in the United States. NFL football, NBA basketball. And they believe in ending racism. I believe that, unless I'm wrong. I think if you really were to ask Roger Goodell what are his thoughts on ending racism, is it a good or bad thing that the NFL endorses that? I think he would say yes. In fact, I know he would because they have it on the back of the end zones. I think Adam Silver, if he were asked that same question, do you believe that we should end racism in the United States? I think he would say yes. Because the NBA is 80% black men. They call it descendants of chattel slavery. And if Big C Sports can get written up, a sports show talking about reparations, why not ask NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, what are your thoughts on reparations now? Reparations forever? And let him answer the question. Because I think if you ask that same question to NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, what are your thoughts on reparations for descendants of chattel slavery? And let him answer the question. I think they say, yes, we believe that there should be reparations for descendants of chattel slavery. Get that praise! United Nations also believes in reparations for descendants of chattel slavery. It's important because if Big C Sports can talk about it and is picked up by the major news networks in the United States of America, why not the two biggest sports leagues in the United States of America? You got to give that some praise. It's happening. Don't be the last ones to talk about it. I want to get in before I get into some Big C's NFL power rankings and talk a little bit about the game tonight. I want to make sure that I do what I think no one else does but me. It's not about me. It's about you. It's about what President Abraham Lincoln told us. It's about doing the right thing. Do the right thing! I think Radio Raheem in one of Spike Lee's movie He said, wake up! I think it would do the right thing. You got to wake up. You also know who's trying to do the right thing. California Reparations Task Force. I want to give him praise. I want to give acknowledgement to Camila Moore, the chair. Give her some praise. She's an attorney that specializes in reparative justice. I had great conversations with her. I want to thank Dr. Amos C. Brown, Vice Chair. Give us some praise. We do appreciate him. I had conversations with him. I want to thank the #1 senator in the United States of America, California Senator Stephen Bradford. Had conversations with him. I want to give him some praise. He also sponsored Name, Image, and Likeness that helps college athletes get paid. You rarely hear his name mentioned, but he did it. He also sponsored Ebony Alert, which helps find young black children when they go missing. He deserves a lot of praise. He's also part of the California Reparations Task Force. Going to be meeting with him soon. I want to thank Councilmember Monica Montgomery Steppe. Brilliant. Give her some praise. Part of the task force. Assembly member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. He's part of the California Reparations Task Force. I want to thank Dr. Michelle Grills. She's brilliant. Part of the California Reparations Task Force. I want to thank Attorney Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. Part of the California Reparations Task Force. I want to thank Dr. Javon Scott Lewis. He's brilliant. A professor at California Berkeley and also part of the California Reparations Task Force. I also want to thank Attorney Donald K. Kamaki. He's brilliant. He's part of the California Reparations Task Force. Give them all some praise. What if the NFL Commissioner, Roger Goodell, and the NBA Commissioner, Adam Silver, were to do what Big C Sports has been doing? It was so good that NBC News picked it up. So did CBS News. So did Jamie Hart, the Associated Press. Before I get into Big C's NFL Power Rankings, I got a call March 29th. Ring, ring. Hello, how can I help you? Hi, is this Charlton Curry? Yes. How can I help you? Hi, this is Janie Hart, the Associated Press. Oh, how'd you get my number? Oh, we have our ways. Okay, well, how can I help you? What made you call me? She said, I heard you speak at a reparations rally. There was about 200 people that spoke, but about 500 people that attended. I said, okay. I said, well, how can I help you? She said, I want to get your thoughts on reparations. I said, if you heard me speak, you know my thoughts. I believe in what President Abraham Lincoln said. He said, reparations now. He said, reparations forever. It was a quick conversation, lasted maybe 3 minutes. And she wrote, Charlton Curry of Big C Sports Podcast. She didn't say Charlton Curry of ESPN. She didn't say Charlton Curry of NBC Sports. She didn't say Charlton Curry of Fox Sports. She didn't say Charlton Curry of CBS Sports. I worked for all of them back in the day when I got started. But having the autonomy of Big C Sports, I'm asking the NFL and the NBA to champion reparations for this innocent child slavery. You have some praise because you can do it, and you know you can. I want to get into Big C's NFL Thursday Night Football. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the Seattle Seahawks. It's down in Texas. The Cowboys are playing really good football now. And the Seahawks will try to get back on track. They continue trying to make a push for the playoffs. They face the Dallas Cowboys tonight. Game's already underway. They've already stood up for the kickoff. It's at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Now, at the start of the season, 5-2, Seattle, they slipped to 6-5. They've lost 3 of the last 4 games. They were last beaten up on Thanksgiving Day by the 49ers because they were hungry and they were looking for some Seahawks up in Seattle. They were sleepless in Seattle. You ever been sleepless? Especially if someone snores too loud, it can make you sleepless. But as my great-granddaddy said, if somebody doesn't snore, don't trust them. If you got somebody that you love, if they don't snore, you can't trust them. You can trust a man that snores, and a woman too. Be that as it may, I want to get back to this game. They lost 3 of the last 4 games, and they sit second place in the NFC West. If the season ended now, they would probably sneak into the playoffs. Enough about Seattle, Curry. How about those Cowboys? Okay. How about those Cowboys? They're 2 games behind the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are 8-3. I believe they'll be 9-3 after tonight. And they're looking at the top wild card spot right now. The Cowboys entered Thursday night's football on a 3-game winning streak. Kickoff's already underway. Kicked off at 8:15 p.m. East Coast time. And Dallas is a 9-point favorite in the latest Cowboys versus Seahawks odds. That's a lot. 9 points. But the Cowboys have been blowing people away. Now, the points, think about this. The over-under is 47.5. Dallas at home, they may get 40 on their own. I doubt if they'll get 40, but I see them scoring in the 30s. Maybe 31-21, somewhere in there in that game, in that range. So they'll probably cover. Vegas knows what they're doing when they make the point spread at 9. But at the same time, if the Cowboys are up by 10 points, don't be surprised on the back 9 if the Seahawks kick a field goal and the Cowboys don't cover the spread. That's just a rumor. Who knows? But you want to give me some praise? I love NFL football almost as much as I love reparations now, reparations forever. That's my third. I'm sticking with it. I want to get on something because I love paying homage when I have enough time. I love paying homage to my family legacy because just like reparations, without my family legacy, I wouldn't be here. Without slavery, America would not have built up tremendous wealth, especially for white Americans. We hear about the wealth gap being about $14.1 trillion. Well, when the Homestead Act gave white Americans over 276 million acres of land, and even white Europeans, they didn't have to pay for it. They didn't have to buy it. It made it possible. And so I want to thank my family legacy. It's important. My family I come from a line of business people. And I think I have one of the best sports podcasts in the country. Give that some praise. Not because of my ego. The writer at NBC News, listening up to Big C Sports does, that they even wrote about it in a news article. That's called credibility. When the major news networks in the United States of America, they called to interview one beautiful, intelligent black man, and they even mentioned his sports show. And then NBC News runs a story. CBS News runs a story. The Associated Press did it. And so they take me so serious because I speak the facts. If you can't Google what I tell you, don't listen to me. Same thing with the other networks. If you can't Google what they're telling you to verify the facts, baby, like Walk the Crown Crack, don't listen to them. That's important. Before I get into my family legacy and Big C's NFL power rankings, I know the economy through COVID hurt a lot of people. But I've worked in real estate over 2 decades. And with the Big C team, my goal in the next 12 months is to create over $6 billion in commerce. I'm looking for the top real estate brokers, loan brokers, and insurance brokers in the United States and Canada to call into the Big C Sports Podcast. It's going to be the Big C Team Real Estate. Give that some praise. I'm doing a real estate show starting January 2024. And for those of you looking for work, I know you're hurting in the mortgage business. I know you're hurting in the real estate business. A lot of people don't want to sell their house. But if you're a business and you're wondering how you're going to get some money, the banks are all tight. They're tight as a frog sphincter in a snowstorm. When it's 5 degrees, they're tight. 4 months bank statements. $5,000 minimum monthly revenue. 6 months in business. What? 6 months? 6 months in business. We specialize in unsecured working capital. Up to $5 million. No collateral. Early payoff discounts. We can fund in as little as 1 day. Unlike some of the lenders now, it takes them 30 days to tell you no. If you're trying to get an SBA loan, I meet people trying to get an SBA loan, and they're waiting 2 or 3 months to be told no. All you got to do, I have a solution. Would you want to hear it? 800-772-8624. Call 800-772-8624. Call 800-772-8624. Call 800-772-8624. It's like a football play. 800-772-8624 and give me some praise. Because I'm going to do this with the Big C team. I want to create over $6 billion in commerce between the United States and Canada starting 2024, and that's going to happen. And you can join me too if you're part of the real estate or insurance business. I want to thank my beautiful legacy, my family legacy on my beautiful mother's side. My great grandmother called her Mama, beautiful, loving, kind woman. Always making sure lots of love in the family and lots of food in the belly. Really do appreciate her. I want to thank my beautiful great grandfather called him Pop, former military man and former Negro League baseball player, known around his church buddies as making the best moonshine in the history of the universe. I say, boys, get out of that barn now. One time we were trying to help my great granddaddy do a fence. He wanted to have us learn. He called it hands-on experience. And he told us what to do. By the time we finished that fence, it was about 10 feet too short. He said, boys, didn't I tell you, measure twice and have it once? What's a 10-year-old boy gonna do? Also, friend level, I really do appreciate my great granddad. He was hands-on experience. And then my beautiful grandmother, Muddy, a beautiful, loving, kind woman. She was a seer. She could off the top look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, present, and future. Really do appreciate her. She still helps me to this day. My granddaddy, Hezekiah, was also a seer. Nowadays, they call them psychics. They can look at people and just tell you about things that they're going through. Past, present, and future. And then I can always depend on my mama. The most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and they're coaching all boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Give mama some praise. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and coaching all boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. The best person I ever met in my life, always saying rise and shine. Love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then on my father's side, my granddaddy called him Albert Curry. He was a pastor, had 3 churches. He owned 2 gas stations, but he also owned 40 acres of land, like the Emancipation Proclamation, where President Abraham Lincoln, you know the story by now, he promised that free soldiers, to freedom, black soldiers, if they'd help the Union defeat the Southern Confederates in the Civil War. And he promised them for helping the Union win 40 acres and a mule, along with their freedom. The 13th Amendment ended slavery. The Emancipation Proclamation offered 40 acres and a mule. But unfortunately, you know the story. As President Lincoln was assassinated, President Andrew Johnson came along, and he did what Senator Mitch McConnell wants to do. He vetoed the bill. And he gave the land back to the Southern Confederates. The people who lost the Civil War. And they never gave it back! But we have a receipt. And not one president, I believe since President Biden, has had the decency to honor President Abraham Lincoln. He's got to do it now to get reelected. If he doesn't pass reparations, it's going to be another Al Gore moment. What? You lost? I thought you were going to get the black vote. I thought you told him if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Well, if you don't sign for reparations for the descendants of child slavery, you're not going to get the black vote. I believe he will because he already signed Executive Order 13985. I told you 00 sent that to me. Part of the National Payout Committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. I love thanking our President and CEO, the inimitable Reverend Tony Pierce, President and CEO of the National Black Wall Street Project. Reparations is going to happen, but it's going to happen like a freight train. You know, a freight train, it starts slow. It builds up steam and then it goes fast. My granddaddy was that way. Really do appreciate him. He owned 40 acres of land, a businessman. And then my beautiful grandmother, Alberta Curry, she worked side by side with my granddaddy with the 3 churches and the 2 gas stations. But I would never forget this. I was 8 years old. How did she know I'd be written about in the NBC News and CBS News and the Associated Press and ABC News? How did she know that? I was 8 years old, walking through a hallway about 10 o'clock at night. I was on my way, and I felt somebody touch me on my forehead. It was in the dark. You know how kids do things in the dark. It was in the dark. I felt somebody touch my forehead. She said, "Excuse me, young man, what are you doing? Going to get more cookies?" I said, What are you doing up, Grandma? It's 10 o'clock at night. You know me go to bed at 8:30. She said, what are you doing, young man? Going to get some more cookies? I said, cookies and baby crap. What I'm doing, Grandma, I'm going to get my reparations. And a couple cookies wouldn't hurt either. But she said, there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. I remember that like it happened just now. And now I'm on 29 podcast platforms, absolutely more than that. And then streaming on 4 TV platforms, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. At the same time, I love what I do so much because I know it's making a difference. If not, CBS News wouldn't take the time to print my story. NBC News wouldn't take the time to print Big C's story. The Associated Press wouldn't have taken the time to print Big C Sports and Reparations together. Now, if they can do it for Big C Sports, can't they do it for the NFL? If the Associated Press can write an article about Big C Sports and Reparations, can't they do it for the NBA? There's more black men in the NFL and more black men in the NBA than there are black men doing Big C Sports. I'm just wondering. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. They can do it. Really do appreciate my grandmother. And then my beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure planes can fly high so we could all stay safe at night. My father's the first one to tell me about the SR-71 Blackbird. You know it can fly from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C. in 1 hour and 8 minutes. My dad's the first one to tell me about it. I love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always saying to develop your mind to its highest extent. My beautiful brother Todd, with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning. Always talking about sports and politics. A voracious reader. Really do appreciate Todd. Love him with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years from a major university. She's the first one to set up an interview for Big C Sports. It was back at Salem Media. It was the first time in the history of the United States of America that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. It had never happened before until 2 black men in the crew, they called us the Dream Team, started doing our thing. And shenanigans set in, and the show went away. I didn't go away, the show went away. They could have had a great thing. But you know how shenanigans happen. The same type of shenanigans that tried to fight reparations. It's amazing. And then Daisy helped me set up, and college coaches came to the West Coast to do work with Big C Sports. You can do anything you want to do, Daisy. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you will prosper. But as I tell my children, in life, when they find people who try to destroy black men, they're usually going to be white people. That's just a fact. Ask Senator Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Late President Andrew Johnson, when he vetoed the bill for reparations, the Emancipation Proclamation. Usually when you find any individual trying to destroy black men, they're usually white. And they'll have you sit around in their tribes. And they'll take you to these churches where nobody's black. They won't do it. They will never go to a church where everybody looks like you. You know I'm telling the truth. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17. No weapon formed against you will prosper. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College student, very smart, erudite, a good man, a senior. You can do anything you want, Malcolm. You're very smart, erudite, a good man. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get the newspaper looking up stats for players and teams for the Big C Sports podcast. One day, Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since. Now on 29 plus platforms and streaming on 4 TV platforms. One day, Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, listen up. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. Now it's streaming on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. He's spoken into existence. Isaiah 54:17, Malcolm, no weapon formed against you will prosper. You can be anything you want to be. You have a great mind. But as I tell you, just like I'm telling you right now, in life, when people try to destroy black men, for the most part, they're going to be white. And you know I'm telling you the truth. They will want you to be in their environment where nobody looks like you. And you know I'm telling you the truth. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17, because when reparations happen, there are going to be people turn against you. They're going to ask you for a loan first, but they'll turn against you. Your father won't turn against you, and neither will God. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. Give that some praise. And then Big C, with all that work and knowledge over the years, I'm a great granddaddy coming out of that barn. Always saying, you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. Let's get ready to rumble. As you stand up for the kickoff, come on, Commissioner Roger Goodell. Reparations, with the help of the NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, and a letter that I'm writing to President Biden at the White House from the National Black Wall Street Project, we can be the vanguards for making it happen. It's the right thing to do for the athletes that have made the NFL and the NBA multiple billions of dollars. And you know it's true. I want to touch on a little bit tonight about Big C's NFL power rankings. And again, I have my own opinion. Everybody has an opinion, and I have mine. And you don't have to like my opinion. It's just I love this business, but I'm not a sycophant. I can do more than one thing. And as I was saying, I heard earlier in the week, a former NFL Hall of Fame football player, he was on a talk show, and he was saying, just stick to sports. He said he's from the ghetto, but doesn't want to go back. But he wants the people in the ghetto to buy his jerseys. And I would ask all of our black brethren, especially the ones who are not afraid to stand with Big C Sports. In the article written by NBC News and CBS News and the Associated Press, and petition your sports leagues for reparations. I'm going to start number 10 in Big C's NFL power rankings. It's just my story. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go with number 10. The Houston Texans. They came up short against the Jaguars, and they have the work cut out for them if they want to make the playoffs. DeMeco Ryans is just turning things around down in Texas. When you think about what happened with the Jaguars, they missed a field goal that could have sent them to overtime in the AFC South, and they currently hold a tiebreaker. Jacksonville Jaguars, they made the playoffs last year. They're going to make it again, in my opinion. The Texans, they had their chances to win that game. C.J. Stroud is the real deal out of Rancho Cucamonga High School in California and also Ohio State. Some penalties on both sides of the ball, it really hurt them. And also C.J. Stroud had 3 second-half sacks, and they just were in over their head a little bit against Jacksonville. But they had a chance. They could have tied the game at the end of each half, but they did not. But I'm telling you, this is the team that's on the rise. And I want to give them some praise because they were at the abyss last year. I'm going to go number 9 in Big C's NFL power rankings. Again, it's my opinion, and I have my own opinion, and everybody has them. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The team that made the Immaculate Reception famous. The Raider fan call it Immaculate Conception because they thought they got screwed, if that makes sense to you. But the Steelers, the very first scrimmage play of Sunday's win over the Cincinnati Bengals, it sent out a clear message that things are going to be different offensively. Kenny Pickett dropped back and fired a pass right down the middle of the Cincinnati defense, and Pat Fireman. And it was the second game back from a hamstring injury that had kept him out since week 4. But when you look at the Steelers, this is a football team with Coach Thomas. They've never missed the playoffs. Never. Everybody has their own opinion about how good the Steelers are. But I think they're coming on strong in their defense and their leadership with their coach. I think they're in a great spot, the Pittsburgh Steelers, to do what they've done ever since Coach Thomas has been the coach. And that's make the playoffs. Playoffs? Yep, playoffs. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got to bring you to another team that I think is good. I got number 8 in Big C's NFL power rankings. People may have their own opinion about it. I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns. With another week comes another quarterback situation with Cleveland. Dorian Thompson-Robinson out of UCLA was playing pretty good defense or pretty good offense. He suffered a concussion and left in Sunday's loss to Denver. In came P.J. Walker, who had just 16 of 13 pass attempts, and he was sacked for a safety late in the game. But Walker, he did he did come in when he wasn't really ready to. I still like the Cleveland Browns' chances of trying to slide into the playoffs. Walker had wins over the 49ers and the Colts. And then there's something about this Cleveland team that looks like they're ready to get back into at least a wild card spot. It's going to be difficult. We know it's going to be difficult for that team. The Browns are 7-4. I know they're banged up, but a lot of people are banged up. But I still have them at number 8 in Big C's NFL Power Rankings. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got number 7 in Big C's NFL Power Rankings. Be that as it may, say what you want. How about those Jacksonville Jaguars? Trevor Lawrence, his production hasn't been earth-shattering yet, but his third NFL season is showing he's a very good quarterback. Had a bit of a slow start in Sunday's win over the Texans. He nearly threw for a career high in yards. Even factoring in the humbling loss to the 49ers, a lot of people are going to get humbled by the Niners, especially Philadelphia this week. Lawrence has been at his best in recent games. His confidence is good. And the Texans right now, they have a strong edge in the AFC South. With 6 games left and only one more true powerhouse, Baltimore, coming to town in Week 15, you got to look at the Jacksonville Jaguars repeating what they did last year. They had a playoff win. I really like that team outside of being knocked around by the 49ers. They're a good team. I got number 6 in Big C's NFL Power Rankings. I got the Miami Dolphins. When you have this team that has so much speed, you got to understand that they are a threat no matter who has the ball. Fangio's defense collected a thrashing under the Jets. I'm telling you, they have momentum. Their run defense and pass rush have been unquestionable. They're not the doomsday or the no-name defense of the 72 Dolphins. But this team, they have, with Tua Tagovailoa at the helm, he can get the ball downfield. And then the secondary is starting to play lights out. So you got to look at Miami. In the AFC, in the East, who's going to beat them? Buffalo's shaky. The Patriots are trying to play for next year. And the Jets, they just don't have, they're too banged up. So Miami's going to win the AFC East, in my opinion. I got them number 6. And number 5 in Big C's NFL Power Rankings. And you can say what you want to say. It's my opinion. I'm going to stick with it. How about those Cowboys? The Cowboys are playing tonight. Touchdown Dak Prescott on his 6th game, averaging 312 yards passing per game. He'll get over that mark again tonight. The good old boy is doing his thing. He has an 18-2 touchdown to interception ratio. I don't think he's ever had a better season of 6 games than what he's done this year. Now, ever since their beatdown by the 49ers in San Francisco Week 5, Dallas has gotten on track. And Dak Prescott is playing like an MVP. Oh, MVP Curry, are you serious? Yeah, I'm serious. An MVP. He's playing like an MVP. The Cowboys, with Mike McCarthy taking over play calling, they're a different team. Now, Dallas has not been in a conference championship game in almost 30 years. They should have beaten Philadelphia. Yeah, I should have won the lotto also, but I'm going to win it Friday. But don't count out Dallas. They're not going to win the East, but they're going to get some playoff wins this year. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And now, no matter what I'm going to say, number 4 in Big C's NFL Power Rankings, it dipped their heels. I got number 4. I got the Kansas City Chiefs. We got touchdown Patrick. There's no place like Mahomes. The offense got back in rhythm after an early 14-0 deficit over the Raiders. They scored 4 touchdowns in a 5-drive span and built a 2-score lead over the Raiders. And they win 31-17. The Chiefs got a big game Sunday from rookie receiver Rashee Rice, and the most they've gotten from a second-year wideout, Sky Moore, since September. Patrick Mahomes, if he's in the groove, you got to think about it. The Chiefs committed no turnovers, allowing just 1 sack and having only 1 clear drop pass and 34 pass attempts by touchdown Patrick Mahomes. Defensively, Kansas City was bad for the first 20 minutes, but they played great down the stretch. I got them. I don't have them back in the AFC Championship game this year, but I do know it's all fair and love and war. That's my story. I'm taking with it. I got number 4. I got him at number 4. You may say, number 4, that's too low, Curry. Well, we will see. That's my story. I'm taking with it. I got number 3 in Big C's NFL Power Rankings. The Baltimore Ravens. It's a bird, it's a plane. No, I'm Superman. Baltimore Ravens led by the great Lamar Jackson. They hit the bye week with the number 1 slot in the AFC. They own a 1.5 game lead in a division where 2 other teams have lost their starting quarterbacks, and the third is not exactly blown away by its number 1 QB. For whatever reason, Baltimore has a nasty habit of leaving the door open late. You ever leave the door open when it's cold? Close the door, baby. Close that door, baby. It's freezing outside. Your grandma, it's like 80 degrees. I don't care. It's still cold. But they sometimes leave the door open, and great grandmas know what happens, how you feel when they leave the door open. But the Ravens right now, they didn't play that great over the Chargers, but I think this bye week is going to help them. They got to have some help to get where they want to go, and that's to the AFC Championship game. That's my story that I'm taking with it. And now, I might eat a little bird. I might eat a little crow. And that's okay. I've eaten chicken. I got number 2 in Big C's NFL Power Rankings. The Philadelphia Eagles. What? Eagles? You out of your mind, Curry? They're 10-1. Well, calm down. The Eagles were outplayed for long stretches by a talented team, and once again, they came up with the victory. They should have lost to Buffalo, and I should have won the lotto yesterday, but I'm going to win tomorrow night. Last week, they had 2 more emotional, meaningful non-conference victories. They had a tough time beating Buffalo. But touchdown Jalen Hurts is the real deal. He's as cool as they come. And he had a drive and a walk-off touchdown, if that makes sense to you, in an overtime win against the Eagles. This is the guy, he's unstoppable. Remember, touchdown Jalen Hurts, he was benched at Alabama for Tua Tagovailoa. Then he went to Oklahoma and led both teams to college football playoffs. They were down 10 points in the third quarter at Arrowhead in Week 11. And they came back and won. They gave up 505 yards on the field, 92 plays in the rain to Buffalo. So their record is 10-1, but I don't think they're number 1 in the NFL. If Big C's number 1 team in the power rankings this week, it's my story that I'm thinking with it. There's gold to dim their heels. How about those Niners? The division crown is not shown up just yet, but it's getting close. The 49ers have dominated the NFC West lately, winning 10 straight games against their most familiar foes. And the next mountain to climb, the way Jerry Rice used to climb those hills in Dim Deer Hills, California, they got to get the NFC's number 1 seed. If they knock off Philadelphia on Sunday, and I think they will, they also have a game. The Eagles got to play the Cowboys down in Texas, too. If they beat Philadelphia, they'll control the tiebreaker if they both end with the same record. In the 49ers defense, they're a lot better defense than what Buffalo showed and better than what Dallas showed. San Francisco has work to do to catch Philly, but it's going to start on Sunday. Brock Purdy, is he better quarterback than Jalen Hurts? No, but he's good enough. Is Deebo Samuel the best athlete on the field? Yes, he is. Is Trent Williams the best offensive tackle in the game? Yes, he is. The 49ers defense, they're going to get after Jalen touchdown Hurts. McCaffrey's going to get his yard. He's going to get his chest in the wind for 100 yards. Brandon Ayuk's going to catch a touchdown pass. And I'm telling you, the edge rushers for the 49ers are legit. With Chase Young and Nick Bosa and Armstead at the middle, Fred Warner at linebacker, there's gold to dip their heels. Well, that's my story. I'm sticking with it. All I ask is that the NFL, they start saying what Big C Sports says. That's reparations now. Reparations forever. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you, that's my story for Big C's NFL Power Rankings. If you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber, you can call Lyft, you can walk it off, you can drink it off by water. But don't let someone you love drink and drive. The life you save may be your own, or someone you love. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you, you know what I'm going to say now because I love doing this part with Big C Sports. I just ask you to join along with me. You can say it like a song. Back in and don't do what Tony Pendergast said when he said, "Turn it off." Back know by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, he said, you float like a butterfly and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports say, reparations now, reparations forever, I feel like I can float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. And that's my story. I'm taking with it. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. If you know anybody going through that garbage, pick up the phone and call 911 because things change when the police show up. What did President George Bush say? He said, "Fool me once, shame on you. You're not gonna fool me again." No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. But now you know what time it is. I'm talking to the NFL. I'm talking to the NBA, and especially Congress and Senate. They have 172 people that have co-sponsored H.R. 40 for reparations. It's time. Now's the time that we honor President Abraham Lincoln, because they're going to start asking for the black vote in 2024. What did Abraham Lincoln tell you if you want to be the next president of the United States? He said, reparations now, reparations forever. What did President Abraham Lincoln tell Congress to do in the president? He says, sign reparations now, sign reparations forever. Say it like the Cowboys just won the game tonight. What did President Abraham Lincoln tell Congress and the president to do? He says, sign reparations now, sign reparations forever. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day.